in front of their primary voters because they are having the political fight of their lives. John Cornyn, the mild-mannered senator from Texas, all of a sudden is trying to portray himself as the staunch partisan diehard. And it all shows through. None of it's convincing, and this is just, it's comical. But what we're fighting against is not comical. What they're doing at this very moment is seeking the absolute destruction of our democracy. Because if they are allowed to continue, if they are allowed to go unabated, and you have already heard from California, you've heard from New York, you've heard from other states, you've heard from red states, you've heard from blue states. Because of this, because of not only Donald Trump's actions, but because of Governor Abbott's willingness to bend the knee, they all feel like they have to bend the knee. And now blue states feel like they have to respond. And this will set our nation down a Cold War path where both sides equally will contribute to the destruction. And here we have a situation where this is going to cause a ripple throughout the country where elected officials will no longer need to listen to their constituents, no longer need to worry about how their voters feel, will no longer need to do what they actually promise because they know they will be reelected no matter what. This is a dangerous path for our nation. If our voices no longer matter, if what we say no longer matters, then there is no democracy left. The republic has fallen. There is still hope to prevent this outcome. And we are here right now trying to shake the nation awake, trying to tell everyone that they must stand up, no matter in the red state or a blue state, to stand up for this and stop the absolute destruction of our republic. Up next is good friend Venton Jones.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chairman Wu. My name is State Representative Venton Jones, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the Texas House Minority Whip. I'll make my comments very brief and first and foremost express gratitude to Texans and the American people, because over the last 6 days, I know that we are working to display a lot of strength, but it takes a lot being away from our families. It takes a lot being away from our businesses. It takes a lot being away from our districts in which we are entrusted to be able to serve. This work, however, is so important. And I had to have a conversation with my grandmother to remind me how important this conversation is. And the question that I asked her on the 60th anniversary of the signing of the Voting Rights Act was, Mama, was it harder back then than it is right now, 60 years ago? And she said, son, this ain't even the beginning. And in those dark days of what's happening right now, what gives me strength is that there were communities that had fire hoses put on them for this very same reason. There were communities that had dogs put on them for this very reason. There were leaders that stood up against the overuse of government and was killed for this very reason, our right to vote. And so when I think about those things, I get strength in those moments. And I get strength in every individual who reaches out to acknowledge the work that is happening right now on behalf of our nation and to protect our democracy. So again, thank you so much, everyone, and we will continue to be strong and continue this fight. God bless. And I would like to turn it over to the HDC Vice Chair, Representative Maha Pisa.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. My name is Maha Pisa. I serve as Vice Chair of the House Democratic Caucus and the constituents of House District 70 in Collin County. We are all meeting the moment right now. This is not just about Texas or Texans. This is about the pillars of democracy as we know it. Just today, Governor Abbott said that he's not going to stop at just 5 new congressional seats, that he might go up to 8 or 10. We have J.D. Vance having conversations with governors about doing the same thing. There's conversations all over the country in red states and blue states for lawmakers to pick their voters instead of for the voters to pick their lawmakers. And this reminds me as to why I ran for office and the stories that my grandparents told me about escaping Eastern Europe and communist Romania. We have to be better than this. We have to show up for our constituents in a way that's been greater than ever before, because this moment is the greatest moment that we've seen. We're talking about rural hospitals shutting down. Texas has seen this happen under the leadership of Governor Abbott and the Republican Party of Texas. Women in our state have lost their access to health care. They're leaving the state, just like we are now. There are conversations being had in our state to roll back access to THC, creating medical refugees in our state, leaving the state to get access to health care, just like we are now. We are seeing access to nutrition, food being rolled back. This is not just about lines on a map. This is about lives on the line. We are fighting for working class Americans, not for the billionaires that control the Republican Party of Texas. That's why we're standing in this moment. We have not vacated our seat. We are more active than ever in our response to Governor Abbott, Ken Paxton, and John Cornyn. We are there for our constituents in a way that our Republican colleagues could never be, because we have seen time and time again when Donald Trump and the politicians of DC call them to do their will, like passing a voucher scam that the majority of Texans were against, they did it. And so that's why we stand in this moment. As I said, not just for Texans, but for all Americans, because we cannot allow this power grab to stand. We cannot allow this gerrymandering war to continue. So let's do what's right. Let's put down our arms. Let's get back to work for flood recovery, for property tax relief, to get rid of the STAR test for all children in Texas, and to do the work that we were elected to do by our constituents, not bend a knee to a felon like Donald Trump. Thank you. Next, I'm going to have Josie Garcia from Bexar County come speak, the first veteran woman to ever serve in the Texas House of Representatives.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Illinois, for welcoming us here. Thank you for being not only our brothers in arms, but our brothers in democracy. I'm Josie Garcia, proud from San Antonio's far west side, SeaWorld, Lackland Air Force Base, House District 124. And I couldn't be more proud than to be the first and only woman combat veteran or veteran in general to serve in the House of Representatives. I want to give you a glimpse into my view of what's happening to us right now as legislators that are fleeing for democracy and fleeing for our freedom. I have the honor of being a combat veteran. I served as an advisor in the Iraqi military. Not only that, but I'm the wife of a Purple Heart veteran who, despite being shot by the Taliban, left his military service with 30% disability. We've navigated our lives faithfully, ready to truly defend and protect the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, because that's what we are bred, that's what we are trained, and that's what we wait to die for. Some of us die in ways that you don't recognize. It's losing our sense of self, our sense of purpose, our sense of knowing who we are outside of uniform. And the last thing we want to do is be a part of politics. Because what we've witnessed in the military is, in order to get the mission accomplished, you focus on the mission. You don't care what color shirt your commander-in-chief wears, you focus on the mission. Well, I'm raising the alarm to my veteran brothers and sisters who don't get involved in partisan politics, because when I got elected 3 years ago, I asked myself, How is it possible that I am the first and only in history in the state of Texas? And then I arrived to the House of Representatives, which, if you think 150 seats, representing 33 million Texans, of 150 seats, 7 of us have worn a military uniform. 7 of us know what it is to really sacrifice our lives to defend and protect. So forgive my irony when I have leadership who doesn't know honor if it smacked them in the face, challenge me about honor. Challenge me about integrity. Challenge me about whether or not I care about Texans as the only legislator who was first responding, foot on the ground, boots on the ground, during a historic flood that claimed 130 of our Texas lives. As I was the only legislator down there in the mud helping recover people who were lost during 4th of July floods, our governor could have wrote a check out of his pocket to lend aid immediately to those Hill Country families. But instead what happened was a political witch hunt where I and my physical person and my life was threatened because I was a Democrat. A woman combat veteran's life was threatened, intimidated because I was a Democrat. When I tell you this is not America, my veteran brothers and sisters, this is not the freedom that we fought for. And that's why I am proud to stand with my brothers and sisters from the House Democratic Caucus of Texas, because we're Texas Democrats. And to be a Texas Democrat means we're unapologetically red, white, and blue. So you can't turn our country against us. And what we will never do is bend the knee to terrorism or tyranny. I'd like to pass on to Dr. Sulaman Ali, the first Muslim man to be elected to the Texas House of Representatives.
Thank you. Howdy, y'all. Thank you for joining us in the fight for democracy. Thank you for joining us for the fight for Texas. Thank you for joining us for the fight for America. I'm Dr. Sulaman Ali, State Representative for District 76. I'm also the co-chair for Texas House AAPI Caucus, and a first Muslim and first South Asian elected to the Texas House. You know, at my core, I believe in healing. And as a physician legislator, I take pride in taking care of my ailing patients and ailing policies. I came to Austin to represent my constituents, to find solutions to real problems, not to some manufactured crisis. While some families in Texas are burying their loved one from the recent floods, Texas Republicans are burying our democracy in Austin. And we had no other choice but to deny quorum. Some people are saying that we are standing out. No, we are standing up, and we are standing tall. We have lawsuits against us. We have penalties against us. We've been threatened to vacate our seats, but nothing will deter us. It's a small price to pay for the freedom that we love. You know, this is happening in Texas, but it's bigger than Texas. It is affecting all America, and if it's left unchecked, will have global consequences. So let's fight. Let's keep the fight on. Thank you.